Hello everyone, my name is Hazan Ramazan and this is Sven Vitucci. We're two running for president and vice president. As you can see, our motto is shift happens. It is kind of a wordplay, as you all have probably noticed. We mean by this that we want to see a real shift at the UK, and we believe that by us creating a team, wanting to change a lot of things here, which we will mention afterwards, and by running not just with a promise, but actually already having the team assembled in a way that the only way we end up next year is by actually fulfilling those promises. I'm just going to start right away with our promises or propositions, simply because I think we all know why we're here. So we offer modern parties. It's not that we don't want parties. In fact, we want more parties and more events and more travels. However, a university is a social life. It's an experience. You're going to remember this in 30 years when you meet other people here. And I don't think you remember that much the parties as much as you remember the people with whom you meet here. And part of that is definitely also how you work with the professors, how you work with others. So parties are just that special extra thing at the end of the Constitution. You may have noticed that we're running as a team. That is very unusual because normally there's just two people, the president and the vice president, who run. However, we want to change the Constitution in several ways. In fact, we've had ready for almost 3 or 4 weeks now a draft Constitution which we've thought of ourselves so far, which we, however, don't want to just put into use right away, but we want to have a public discussion just like this, or just when we had the Libya discussion, if we might say, which was maybe the most interesting discussion so far, and maybe redraft, change something, add something. So part of that Constitution will be referendum rights, veto rights, and separations of power. Maybe you don't know about this, but you can't find the Constitution online on our website. That might be because it's still a draft. However, technically speaking, because the last student government wrote that, it should be official, and they never said that it's just a draft and it shouldn't be used. The referendum rights which we want to add to this, again, came up after the Libya incident, if I might say. Most students were opposed to it afterwards, and we essentially had enough signatures, thanks to them and everyone else who helped here, to really change something here. And I think enough ideas came up during the discussion to change something. The referendum right would essentially grant you that those signatures would bring you up to a point where you could decide on something, or simply override the decisions of the Senate or of the student government, or even go further, and that will also change in the student government once we get in, that you can retract the student government. So if after 6 months the student government simply disappoints you totally, you can create the referendum and vote the student government out directly, and within 2 or 3 weeks there should be re-elections. That's at least our plan. Veto rights means that either the referendum or the student president or the Senate will be able to veto any decisions made by the Senate or the president, which includes also the students. So if somebody makes a terrible, terrible decision, it will be able to veto it and to essentially nullify it, so it doesn't happen. And separations of powers. As of now, the Senate, which in pretty much every other student government in the world acts as a legislative, meaning that they decide on things, they actually decide whether something should be done or shouldn't be done, must change, must be differentiated. As of now, the Senate has administrative jobs, meaning they're historians and they're clubs, heads of club or something like that, and you vote them in, but then instead of thinking about what should happen within a UK and what shouldn't happen, they have actual jobs to do in a sense. And we believe that by separating the powers, or by creating a Senate which decides on things, and the student government who actually does things or is in administration, we can have a much more efficient student government. Next point is the entertainment room. As many of you know, maybe you're too young here, I see quite a lot of freshmen here. entertainment room, just as the lockers has been promised in the past. However, this time AK has done a great investment in the blue building over there, and as many of you might have been there, we had an exposition in the basement, which is a pretty good lighted room, a very accessible room, and we've already talked to Sean and other people, and the initial idea was actually to make that entertainment room. In fact, you may have even seen the furniture around. So we believe by talking to the media, by the media section, and actually working with them together, we might create an entertainment room, which from time to time can also be used as an exposition room. In that entertainment room, we want to have board games, maybe even a television if that's possible. However, I'm not promising that. And definitely furniture and simply a place to stay and maybe play guitar or something. Parties and social events. We want to create an entire separate branch of government for parties and social events. We know that the people who party are not the people who know how to govern student government, generally. However, these people are generally also very friendly, and you can talk to them very easily. Therefore, we've gotten people into our current team, with whom we have worked in the past, and with whom we think we can organize very good parties and social events and everything else. Truly anonymous online evaluation. Even the professors might actually not know this, but the online evaluation of other teachers is not really anonymous. The teachers can see who evaluated them and who didn't, and technically speaking, they should not be able to see which evaluation corresponds to who actually evaluated them. However, there's a timestamp, meaning you can see at what time a student evaluated someone, and then there's another timestamp saying at what time a specific evaluation was submitted. So if the teacher really wants to know who evaluated someone, they can simply go to those two sheets and compare the times. And I know of cases when people actually compare the two sheets, which is also the case why almost everyone here at AUK who knows something about technology doesn't evaluate professors, and which is also why we believe that we can create a parallel evaluation system, as we've already talked to Julia about this, and so that you evaluate the teachers and the evaluations get only to us, to the student government. And we will make that technically impossible to know what it is. It's simply anonymous, it's ready, other universities use it, it's open source, it's free. So then once we see if something really went wrong, we will talk to the dean, to the academic director. And books. I bet that most of you have problems with books. I bet that there are people in this room who still haven't bought their books, actually. And I was myself involved over the summer to ensure that as many classes as possible have books online, or that you can print books legally out. However, for some classes this was either impossible, or the teachers didn't feel comfortable with the books which were available online on a legal basis. Our main point is that we want online book swapping. RIT has this. I think it was actually some sort of senior project over there, and pretty much every big university in the US has this. You can write down on just like Facebook or something, which books you have and which books you want, and then you just do a search and you can find everyone at AUK who has that book still, who wants to get rid of it. So if, for example, if someone has a microeconomics book and someone has a macroeconomics book, you might find each other automatically through the system and either swap the books or pay a very small amount of money to each other, just like a used book. So I think this is a much better solution than printing out books like crazy. It's definitely environmentally friendly. And buying used books to RIT is also an idea which we've discussed with people in the administration so far. It is possible to get things shipped from RIT to here securely and without paying anything, actually, as far as we know. It also seems possible to buy used books over there at RIT, or have donations from RIT whenever the students have already used books, and ship them at bulk to us. So that way we can either get original books for our library, which I think would be a lot more efficient for most classes, or actually for the students. University twinning. We already have some sort of relations with other universities and colleges. However, at this level, we don't have a student government relation with other student governments. We believe that this is very crucial, that it isn't just the administration of the faculty or whoever should have these relations. In fact, we know that about a day or two ago, there was a French student government from the L'École Polytechnique in Paris, which, as far as I know, is the best French university anywhere, here through the French embassy, and they actually wanted to meet students from AUK. But on short notice, that wasn't possible, and well, we knew in time, but really you have to organize things through the student government. And simply because we're connected, and simply because we already talk to other universities on a friendly basis with students at RIT, we believe that this is very possible. Senior projects. I see that very few of you are seniors here, but believe me, this is probably the most crucial thing for you. As of now, senior projects aren't anything serious. You can just do something very small and you'll get through with it. This shouldn't be this way. I think that senior projects should be a platform where you can start and have discussions with professionals, know professionals, create contacts, and maybe even start something which might later on be your business or your organization or something. This I've talked to people at RIT about, and we found out that at RIT there aren't senior projects, but there are some other kind of projects which they just call student projects, which sophomores and juniors can definitely do, and there are even freshmen who finish them in time. So you could theoretically be a sophomore here and already be doing your major project. We also want to change this and talk and have the student government as a contact platform. It is very difficult to get contacts with other businesses and organizations if you get to them just like as a person. If you get to them as a university or as a student government, it just seems much more serious. And the best place I think where this has happened has been so far what I spent, and to some extent the Tech Club and the organization FLOSC and the UK overall have organized, the IT Tech Fair. And this is a picture from some of the people who were at the Mozilla release party, which by the way was the biggest one in the Balkans. It was pretty interesting. Most people thought that this was my senior project. I want to have an actual senior project. I don't want like just to gather some people and create something. And this is definitely possible if you talk to them as a club or as a student government. I think it was possible for us to talk to actually Mozilla itself, Mozilla Europe, and get like people from Mozilla to present at our place, simply because we talk to them as a club and as FLOSS. So this must be of interest to you.